Hey everybody. All right, here we are live streaming. Isn't it crazy? The world is crazy. This is Mark Teaches Music, and I'm Mark Black, and I want you to have fun and I want you to be awesome. Today is the 6th of July, and if you want information about lessons, go to dallasmusiclessons.com, and or you can email me at mark@dallasmusiclessons.com. There's a lot. I need another big old screen. There you go. Okay. So in this stream, what we try to do is answer everybody's questions about any questions you might have about music, learning music, about performing, about ad-libbing, about being in a band or what the band should do. And that could be a concert band. It could be a rock band. It doesn't matter. Being in a choir. I love being in a choir. And believe that most people can be amazing and excellent, better than they ever thought they could be. Although it's a slightly twisted tale. It's slightly difficult to get there, and a lot of people give up. Or a lot of people are really down on themselves, man. And which is understandable. You know, it's not understandable because you're bad, but because it's like it takes a different set of skills. So anyway, so the point of both of our channel, Mark Teaches Music, and the point of this Q&A is that there's a lot of things that you could learn and do and be, and 99.9% of people can be better musicians, singers, and instrumentalists than they ever thought. And so what we're about is getting you there, and it's a little tricksy sometimes, and okay, I got my little live stream. So what you need to do right now is you need to be chatting. You need to be chatting me your questions, and you need to be sharing this link and inviting other people. They're like, hey man, you got to see this guy. Look his beard. If you've been watching all seven, this is the seventh one. My beard is basically turned like 10 shades of gray in that time because of this medicine I was on. So anyway, it's very funny, but not to me. So anyway, let's see. So jump in, ask me questions, and I feel free to say I do not know. And so if you like this, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications and like it. And the main thing is tell other people. So I'm going to go right on to people's questions right now. And the first question right here is, that can't be right. Oh, I see. I understand. Okay, the first question is, how do you figure out what key a song is in? Thank you, Tom, for that question. And now, you guys got to understand, of course, you're all, both of my students and the listeners are all coming from different places. So some of you, I have had, it's just crazy, I've had people mostly on the, not classical, but on the note reading side. It's like there is no other way other than reading notes. I mean, yes, this guy's playing by ear, but he's just some freak, or that's not the real way, or something like that. And so if you're in the note reading tradition, by which I do not mean that you read by notes, I mean that the way that you can read notes. I don't mean you can read notes. I mean the way you think of it as learning a song is you got to get the notes. There's a handy dandy little key signature up there, which 85-90% of the time is the correct key. You must understand that as a music writer, somebody who transcribes music as on either a program back in the day, like me, you write it out by hand. People paid me money to transcribe their compositions. Back in that little key signature is not. It's really there to save the musician and then the transcriber writing in a bunch of key signatures. So I'm just saying a song with two sharps. You're thinking probably, oh, it's D, and then if you had a good band director or a good teacher that said, well, it could have been B minor, that also has two sharps. And then if you had even better, you had somebody who lead you into vague land like me, and you say, well, this is true. And you say, well, that could be E Dorian minor. That could be a song in A Mixolydian. It could be a blues in A could be written with two sharps, meaning that all the G's are G, or most of the G's are G naturals, and that would be a way a lot of blues would be written. Don't be confused about that. I said this is the reading part. If you're not a reader, you don't have to do that. Yeah. So anyway, so this for the readers. I'm just saying. You think you're going, oh, I read music, and I know that 2 sharps or 17 sharps is so and so key, but it's not as nearly as cut and dried in that because music is not as cut and dried in that. Now, for you people with your ear, and I am including the readers, the usually if you're looking at a chart, now you guys who are not quote unquote readers and you're thinking I'm going to pull up my handy dandy little chart that I bought or I downloaded online, and its song starts in the key of C, and so it must be in the key of C. So I would say about 80% of the songs begin that the chord they begin on is in the key that it begins on. Probably 90% of the songs, the chord that they end on is the key that they're in, maybe 95%. But lots of songs have intros, and so they do this, and then they go, my baby, she's cute, like that. So in other words, the intro is there. Tons of songs in the jazz classics, standards from that are movie themes. The guy turns to the girl and he goes, when I think of you, singing in the rain, you're a beautiful girl, like a great work of art. She's stylish, she's chic, and she also is smart. And then the song's in a different key. In that case, the song was not in a different key. But anyway, so lots of songs start off have an intro in a different key. Not a majority, but lots of them. And then a lot of songs, when they get done, less songs have an outro that is different. So that's the most reliable. But the real thing is listen to my little thing I just did. I went, well, let's start it. Let me do this. I'm going to start in a different key. Listen to your ear. What key are we in by ear? There's a note out of all the notes that were played. 6 notes out of the 7 notes of the key we're in, actually all 7 notes of the key we're in were played in amongst those chords. And so your ear, I just went. I didn't do that. I did not do that. I went. Well, I'm totally screwed it up now. And your ear is saying, what's the key? The key is this note. We haven't played that chord, but that is the note that every single one of those and that is a D. So I played a G, I played an A minor, I played an F sharp minor, I played a B minor, I played an E minor, and an A again. I played every single note in the D scale, but I did not play the D chord. And so I think I went ba 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 ba, no, ba 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 ba. Now the ear, after 3 of those chords, has heard every note in the key. So the real thing that says what key a song is in is your ear. So if I go, I'm not gonna play the rest because who knows? Copyright people come and get me. That song is not in it. The chords are D, C, and G. And those chords are only found in the key of G. But you all know your ear's going, no, it goes. Big old D. That song's in the key of D. So the ultimate test of what key a song is your ear. Not your ear, just your ear saying, where's home base? So let me just play through. We'll stay in the key D. Whenever you play a song, a classical piece, it doesn't matter the piece, you play a little bit of a song, and your ear starts going, listen to these chords. Pretty chord, pretty chord, pretty chord, pretty chord, pretty chord. None of them are home. I'm going to do it one more time, a little bit. Here's another pretty chord in the key, pretty chord in the key, pretty chord in the key. But this is the only one that sounds like home base. Listen to it. Then you go, so I can quit playing now. And that's my own personal definition of the key. Is that when I get to the chord that you feel like, oh, I could stop right there. So if I go I can't stop there. Got to stop on don't because that's the key. That's the home base. So how's that? That's long answers. That's my game. Is long answers. Okay. So next question: who's the best guitar player in the world? Well, it sure ain't me. I wish it was. Now the problem with that question is, my goodness, there are so many kinds of guitar. And so there's fingerstyle guitar, which is not classical guitar, which is not lead guitar. There is rhythm guitar. There is comping, and of course, I'm using that for jazz player. And in jazz, the equivalent of classical / a fingerstyle would be chord melody. The point is, classical is a complete piece. Fingerstyle is a complete piece, doesn't need a guitar or anybody but that guitarist. And in the same genre is chord melody. So Joe Pass played chord melody, didn't play fingerstyle. Don Ross plays fingerstyle, doesn't play classical, doesn't play chord melody. Christopher Parkening plays, Christopher Parkening, yay, Christopher Parkening. Christopher Parkening plays classical. But this is all basically a complete piece. But in general, most of the time, somebody like Larry Carlton, or it's just in general, Larry Carlton or Kenny Burrell, I'm not trying to play a complete piece. I'm playing the melody. I'm playing chords, and Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, Eric Clapton. Eric Clapton, yeah, he's a great guitarist. He's not really one of the top guitar players, though. He's really, really good. Eric Holder? Nope. Eric Johnson. There we go. So what I'm getting at is that these guys get amazing in different styles, and their style of music requires them to do different things. And so I don't think he would. Christopher Parkening shouldn't look at a Larry Carlton and go like, Larry, come on, you can't play, the Bach partitas or something. And Larry Carlton shouldn't look at Tommy Emmanuel. Well, Tommy Emmanuel and Larry Carlton are probably pretty close to the most well-rounded. Larry Carlton was in the Commodores. Besides being in Steely Dan and being the guitarist for many of their albums, he was in the Commodores. So I'm saying there's a different genre, more or less. Anyway, so I'm saying those guys can play a lot of different things, and it's not just the one thing. But no matter, when you get this high and this specialized, like a Joe Pass, just phenomenal player, he's not trying to play a classical piece. He's not, and it would be foolish for Christopher Parkening or some other amazing guitarist to look at him and say, or Billy Strings, to say, hey, you can't play my bluegrass lick, and it would be foolish for whatever the other guy to say, you can't play my pictures at an exhibition piece by Mussorgsky. So I'm not trying to. I got all my questions. I'm not trying to be goofy. There is no world's greatest guitar player, except in his own mind, and you have to define. Like I just defined I was talking about those two guys, Larry Carlton and Tommy Emmanuel. It's like, okay, these are guys who play the most in multiple styles well. They're not playing. Any of those guys are playing in every style well, every way of playing. Can they play Hawaiian slack key? Can they play dobro? So what happens is we get in. They should get in these. Okay, I'm not going to play everything. I'm going to play this, and I love this, and they get really specialized, and it just gets so incredibly amazing in this. And so you could look at it. Even if you looked at an area, you say classical guitar. Who's the world's greatest guitarist in classical guitar? You couldn't pick a person because one person could play faster. That's why those videos like, world's greatest guitarist, world's fastest guitarist. It's like, well, that's not really at all. No professional guitarist would rate how fast you play as your skill. So for all I know, somebody plays faster than Tony Rice um, in bluegrass. I don't know, but those guys wouldn't. Uh, Bluegrass and blues does have a little small tradition of cutting heads. We get in front of each other. We play, who can do it, and even that's really not speed defined. It's really more like, that was amazing, all the licks and things you did. So I'm not trying to be vague in my answers. What you should do is pick the style of music that you like, and research or pay attention to the top people in a certain style, and it's still going to come up with, here are these 5 or 10 guys that are amazing. And if they got in a room, most of them would be telling one another, boy, I love what you did on that album. How did you play that? How did you do that? I love, in classical it'd be the same thing. I love your interpretation of Ravel's Le Tombeau de Couperin. That was so just moving to me. Even though the other guy could play it, the guy who sang it, he could play it. He would just be like, wow, you're incredible. So I'm saying that's the way we should think of that. And again, with this, it's like, just let me say real quick, this is a little aside, for your own, what are you trying to do? How good are you trying to get? We're coming up, we're getting better. And instead of it being a mountain, I'm better than you, I beat you now. Instead of being like this, what it is, it's a mesa. And so, come at you getting better. You get good enough, and people are listening to you. And I said that my definition of musician is when people quit worrying about you messing up, and that's the top of the mesa, which is a lifted plane. Basically, it's got cliff sides, and then it's flat on the top. So that's it. Once you get good enough that people quit worrying about you messing up, then you're on the level footing with these other amazing people. Are some of them better than you? Some of them a lot better than you? Yes. But people are thinking, well, those guys are all musicians. So anyway, among these guys that they're really great, and they're way up here, they would see themselves, most of them would see themselves as peers, and noticing this or that cool thing. And if you watch their videos or watch them and talk to them in person or whatever, most of them will say stuff like that. I picked this up from this guy. Picked this up from this guy. And that's awesome, actually, that way. How do you get inspiration to write a song? Songwriting question, number 17. As all of my songwriting students through the decades would say, and myself, that's can be a pretty tough question. But what most people who write songs do, and I'm not trying to change the answer. I truly am not trying to, what most people have trouble with is not the inspiration to start a song. They either play a cool lick, and they go like, they play something on the guitar that they think's really cool, or the piano. It's hard to get over that piano. So anyway, they go, they go, whoa, that's so amazing. So it's inspired melodically or harmonically, some chord progression. They go, this guitar's falling in. They go, wow, so cool. They go, oh, that's cool. Harmonic. Or they go like, my love is like a red, red rose, and nothing is quite as large as her nose. They have a line, or 2 lines, or a thought. This is such a cool thought. Let's get with that. Let's stay with that one. My love is like a red, red nose, and nothing quite as large as her nose. And so they have this little thought. So they have a little musical idea, they have a little thought idea, and what's hard is going past that, and connecting one little thought into a line, into a verse and a chorus, into an entire song. And if you look at the lyrics of songs, you'll discover that most people don't try. They just get good enough, Like I said, the mesa, good enough for people to enjoy it, and people aren't paying attention. Oh, it's just amazing how badly done so many songs are. So, so how do you get inspiration? So you read text, TEXTS, not on your phone, but words printed in books. You've heard about those books, and online and stuff. And you read the Bible, you read poetry, you could read stories. Stories. I'm talking about prose, fiction. You could read a little bit about topics, about live things, current things. It's just that you're turning them into. So songwriting in general is poetic, ish. That don't mean it has to rhyme. I just mean it is not like most songs are not. On the 3rd of September, A Day of Oz May Remember. No, wait, that is the song. Uh, but most songs are not. It was 2 o'clock, and a man was driving a brown sedan, 1974 sedan, and his front tire popped, and he skidded into the intersection, and a large semi hit his back end. He lived, however, that's not the topic. It would be the tragedy. He was, his life. He was going off to do something wonderful, and something bad happened. So it's an emotional thing. So you're reading text. You are in your own life experience. Of course, most people who write songs are like, my girlfriend left me, so they got to go write a song about that. My girlfriend came back, they got to write a song about that. I'm happy, it's a beautiful day. It's a wonderful night. It's a wonderful night. I'm gonna break it on down. I have no idea. I love that song. The video is really strange. Everybody turns into werewolves or something. That's the video. Never watch the video of a song. If you enjoy the song, don't watch the song. Don't watch the video. Just listen to the song. Music is really, really cool. But obviously, just for example, that is it's happy. Something's happy. Music is happy. So anyway, you're inspired by something and you come up with some ideas. The difficulty is fleshing it out into a 3rd and 4th line, and then chorus, which is the kind of the verse is expository, telling you the story. This is a generalization, and the chorus is the bottom line. And so happy. See, I'm happy. But what the verses are, hey, stuff is happening, and this is why I'm happy, or somebody tried to put me down, but I'm not going to do that, because I'm happy. So anyway, and the way to get past that is you can just try putting things in and sticking it out. What I'm saying is, it's okay. I can't think of what goes right here, but I can think on the 4th line. I'd like to end it with this. And what can I do for my chorus? It needs to be, it's basically just try and write a lot of crappy songs. And I'm talking about not put them out there for people to hear, but, just like, well, that was dumb. What was wrong with that? Why I don't like that? What's missing in this song? And as you discover those different answers and like, why is this wrong? Why is this not good? And as always, if you'll feast on the food of giants, you become a giant. So listen to great songs you love, and it's okay if you listening to Maroon 5 or Chris Stapleton, and it's like, it's okay if some of your songs sound like those guys that you're listening to. Tori Amos or whatever, it's like, wow, it's pretty derivative, but their stuff was derivative when they were 11 and 15, and or when they're 20, and if depending if they're famous, they got all kind of people up in their faces, man, saying change this, change that. I'm just saying, so something that is derivative doesn't make it to us like, hey, that sounds just like this other group song. But you can listen to other people. You should listen to other people's songs and see what they did. And the way to do that too, if you're going to use that method, which is a great method, is you would listen to not one song of somebody's or even one artist, but you'd say pick 2 or 3 artists. You say, I love these guys. Listen and like, don't just listen, this is cool, but like kind of study it, kind of absorb them, for 2 days, 2 weeks, just kind of pulling in all this stuff, and then sit down and you're kind of saturated with those people and what their thoughts are, or their musical thoughts, their approaches, and then sit down and try to write stuff. So anyway, getting ideas from stories, from poetry, from books, words, and say classically, historically, many, I don't know, a third of songs have a writer and a musician, a melodist, lyricist. Lyricist is he writes the thing, and then the can't think of the other guy's name. I had this problem 2 weeks ago. The lyricist and the musician. That's not the right word. Let's call him the composer and as opposed to singer-songwriter. I did it all. So it's fine to get other texts from other people. And the issue is pushing through to the end and saturate yourself with the people that you like their music, like the way they write. Okay, number 4. What was the hardest instrument for you to learn? Well, again, it depends on one of the actual facets of learning, of being a good musician, is defining, and it's hard to define, is how good do you want to be, or how do you want to play? You know what I'm saying? So if I just want to go do that, if that's all I want to do, then hey, I'm done learning the piano, let's say, you know. So I would say the hardest instrument for you to learn is the piano, because I have great wishes. I can play the piano and accompany myself on piano and play some things on piano, but in my heart of hearts, I have good, big things. Not that I'm willing to sacrifice for. I mean, I would, if I practice, when I practice 5 hours a day, piano would only get 45 minutes of that. So if I practice 5 hours a day on just the piano, that'd be a pretty good amount. Wouldn't be an amazing amount for a pianist, but it'd be okay. But I'm not willing to sacrifice all these other things to get that. So I'd say the piano's the hardest, in the sense that, but the reason would be, lots of people, depending on what you hear me do, you can hear me do some things and it'd be like, that guy's amazing, because I can do these things. I did these things a lot, and you hear me try to do something else, which is, I'm here. I'm not moving. This is me. I'm not moving. So I try to do this, and it's not childish things. It's just certain things I can do that I'm used to doing, like comping or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, it's really great. And then you have other things that I'm not used to doing. It's like, well, he's not very good at all. So so anyway, I would say the piano's the hardest, because I would say the reason is because I do have, and you guys, if you're watching your pianist do this, hold your hands up against and see if you can wiggle your little finger. I want you to see I can do this finger like this, and like this, and like this, and like this, but I can't move this little finger by itself. I'm trying to, but these fingers are linked together. So this is it's not a handicap, like I need a little sticker, but it's a handicap for a pianist. It truly is. And if you have that, it's probably not the best idea to try to be a classical or jazz super skilled pianist. And also, to be a pianist, you need a lot longer fingers. I've said this several times. It's true. So I have very short, small fingers. Every instrument needs that. Guitar does, piano does. Piano probably even more than the guitar, and other instruments probably don't necessarily need them for things like the oboe, the flute, the sax. But anyway, so the point is, hardest instrument, probably the piano. Mostly there are issues I have, small. They're not tremendous, but they're small issues. Like, of course, many women have hands as small as mine is smaller. So in addition, though, what I'd like to do on the piano is some kind of leaning. Oh, I wish I could do that, And so anyway, I would say many of the other instruments that I play, though, would be like families of instruments that seem to me to support one another, like the oboe, the flute, the saxophone, clarinet, seem to support one another. The guitar and the bass and the mandolin and the ukulele support one another. So it's not that big. It's nothing to play the ukulele. And I don't mean it's nothing like, it's cool and wonderful to play ukulele, but it's not like, oh my gosh, how do I hold it? How's it tuned? What is it? So some of the instruments are pretty straightforward and logical based on what I've done in the past, and aren't as hard. And I could say the same thing in terms of the difficulty of the guitar, but I feel like I'm a little further. I'm not where I'd like to be on the guitar, but I feel like I'm further along on the guitar in terms of the bigger things I want to do. I've done more of those things, essentially because I started maybe 10 years earlier or something. Why is that a question? Why is music so hard? Okay, why is music so hard? I think music is now look, again, how good do you want to be? How good do you want to be? People, everybody who has trouble with music knows people that are like, well, Jimmy Bob just picked up the guitar, and in 2 weeks he had a contract at Nashville. You know, you know, Igor Svensson was locked in a closet for 22 years, never saw a person. They walked out, put him in front of the piano, and his recordings and compositions are now world famous. You know, everybody's got stories like that. Now, this little kid, he's only 8 years old and 2 inches tall, and he plays so much better than everybody. So the music, so that there are people who are naturals, but for everybody else, and that's a very, very small pen, they're not. But in no sense does the fact that you are a natural mean that other people can't be just as good and better than you. It just means that for some people, the physical skills, some of the mental skills come naturally or easily or quickly, and so for everybody else, which again is about about 90% of people, and about a third of the great musicians that you love to listen to are not natural, that they worked on it and became great. So anyway, so for those people, music is hard, and I want you. I'm just talking like B.B. King he's dead. He did not play chords at all. No chord playing. So it would that now don't. I'm not saying I don't really know how good B.B. King played. I guess he played really great. He's famous, right? But my impression was of him was more of was a lot of heart in there, a lot of sweet, excellent notes. But I want you to think about it. So if you're a guitar student or a guitar player, and I said, guess what? You never have to play any chords. Forget the chords. Just worry about the lead. It'd be a lot easier for you, wouldn't it? You know, it'd be a lot easier, you know, if you didn't have to play chords. And Pavarotti, for example, Luciano, this is our big fat dude day. B.B. King and Luciano Pavarotti. He didn't read music. He learned everything by ear. All of his classical, actually opera pieces, he learned by ear. So that would make it, some things, it's not really. It's a lot easier if the only thing you're going to do is just listen to these songs and pick up how they go. So anyway, music is so hard because it is right and left brain. There are counting elements. There are playing the right note element. And if I have a great ear, an amazing ear, the first time I hear something, I can sing it right back to you, you know, or I can write it down, you know, or I can play it, you know. But most people don't have that great an ear, so they have to not resort to, but they have to use other skills that aren't as developed. So the primary issue, or the thing about music being so hard, is that it's a multi-discipline or multi-skill discipline, and most people are good at one or two of the 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 things that it requires, and so you can learn to do those things too. And it's not, in no sense is it a closed, not even slightly a closed club, because I'm trying to illustrate some people who are great, really are great, but some of them, part of the reason they're great is because they said, I'm just going to do this one thing. Some of them said, I'm just going to play the blues. Some of them said, I'm not kidding, he said, I'm just going to play in these 2 or 3 keys, and y'all going to work around me, you know. And some of them said, I'm not that skilled actually, but I'm got a really aggressive attitude, and I act like I know what the heck I'm doing, and so, you know, there it is. And so you're shy, you know, or you're shy, and so it's harder for you to put it this big, you know, here I go. So anyway, music is not so hard. It has issues, and it helps to have other people that have been through those circumstances to say, well, here's, you know, basically, you know, you're like, I got to do this, and somebody come in and say, well, just do this. Let's just go around this, or here's the way through that, you know. And so anyway, it's not so hard, but the reason people would say that it's really hard for them is they're trying to work the problem to begin with without the skills needed for that problem. It's like I'm trying to take a nut off of a piece of machinery, and I'm using a screwdriver. It just, you know, just isn't going to take that nut off. And so you need other people who are been in those situations to say, here's what's wrong. You know, here's how to fix this. And that's not for everybody. It doesn't have that. It helps a lot of people to have that. Okay, how high quality of an instrument should you buy if you're just starting out? Okay, parents, Uh, you should buy the very best instrument you can afford. Uh, and I'm just saying you should sit down and look at your budget and say, and don't sacrifice. Don't not have food. Don't. I guess I'm seriously don't have a worse guitar. I mean, a worse car, or something. But when the instrument's going to matter the most is in the beginning. And so a great player can take a crappy instrument and make it sound good. He'll be grumbling about it the whole time, and he'll have things he can't do because of that instrument, but he will not be like sound horrible. But you're a little kid and you're trying to play your flute and the keys are not closing because you bought this little crappy $100 flute, and the notes aren't coming out, and he says push it, and that little kid's going to quit. And the same thing for you as an adult. I just never understood why people would come to me for lessons, and then within a week or 2 weeks, they've gone and bought a guitar without talking to me about it at all. And unfortunately for me, I don't have any deals set up where if you buy a guitar here, they'll give me $100. So if I tell you what guitar to get, I get nothing from it. So it'll be a very good, correct, or best of my knowledge, this is a good thing to get. Anyway, they don't come to me and ask me. They just show up with this really crappy guitar. Kid like rock. The kid likes rock, so they bring me a nylon string guitar. Nobody in rock plays with this guitar. The strings are this high off the frets. Kid can't make this. Nothing will happen. Sounds like a piece of cardboard because it is a piece of cardboard. So if you can, this is the time to get a good instrument. If you are unsure about where you stand, this is all based on your personality. Like, am I going to keep on doing this? Is my kid going to keep on doing this? Then rent. And it'd be better to not waste the $500 for 6 months or 9 months. I'm talking about for you, grown up. Be better to not waste that money, but you're investing. You're saying, I don't know. So I'm going to spend $500 to see if I like this. I had a student last week, looking at a double bass. And the deal with the double bass was not everything you paid for the rent was went to the purchase, but half of it. But even then, it's like, well, I'm not sure. So, better to waste, $300 and decide, I just don't really care about this much, than to waste $3,000 because after a year you decide, no, I'm not going to do this. Now, I'm not at all trying to be. We should all be. Captain America, the real Captain America, not Chris Evans. We should all be Captain America and be like, but bless God, what if I start it, I'll finish it. Here I go. I'm not going to, I guess I'm not going to do it. No, we should all be like that, but we're not. So get the best instrument you can afford. You can talk to me, of course, including if you're not taking lessons, you can email me. And I'll answer as a good middle quality. If you get to the middle quality of instruments, if there's no obvious problems, then you don't have to get into this is an amazing instrument. You don't have to get to that. But you do need to get past most entry-level instruments if you can afford. If you can't, get the entry-level, the beginner, get the best you can. If you can get somebody to look at it to verify that it's good and good playing condition, then do so. I'm just commenting, it'll help the most when you start to have a good instrument. How do you get started performing for people in restaurants and clubs? These questions, how am I supposed to not make fun of people? First thing you do, now we're talking about this looks like it's actually talking about performing, like really performing. For you personally, not like performing, but just getting out in front. You really and truly, you need to use my teacher told me to do this, or this guy on the internet told me to do this. And every time somebody new comes over your house, you need to say, look, I need to play you a song. I'm giving this is not exactly the question. I'm saying for you to become comfortable performing these things, look, I got to play you my song, and it's not because I'm stuck up. It's because my teacher is, or because my teacher makes me do this. Because you need to get used to playing for others, because music is a performing art. I don't mean you have to, and again, this is back, said many times, it doesn't mean you want to play for other people, or that you're planning on being a performing, like getting paid $100 or $1,000 or $100,000. You're not saying that. You're saying you want to sound like that. You don't necessarily want to. You don't have to want to sound like getting paid $100,000, but you want to sound like the music you like, you know. So anyway, so every chance you get, you say, hey, let me play you my song. I'm supposed to do this. This is a part of my learning. And then you do that. Okay, now to actually get started in terms of the other person who does want to get in front of people, and boy, I would like to have gigs and stuff. Well, there's bulletin boards, musicians exchange is one, and then of course places like Guitar Center, and that's online, and other places in person are looking for people to be in the band. Lots and lots. If you just ask, I'm just talking about your go out and you just ask like Starbucks, but just all kind of places. Just because this place looked like it would have or let me come and play, and if you come and play for free, lots of places say, you know, well, how big is your setup, and you know, da 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 da. And if it's just a little guitar and you know, a stand or a guitar and a chair or something, a lot of places let you play and it's for free. And and then a lot of places, of course, are looking for people to play. You should ask all the people you know. Do you know? Because we've had several people in the last couple of weeks or so say, well, blah blah blah. You know, my friend is in charge of this at this the city of you know, the city of Plano or the city of Coppell or whatever, you know, and they're looking for people to play so and so. Keep your eyes out on the paper or on the community chats here in Plano, and they'll be opening something, and they'll be like, oh, we want, you know, 50 artists to come in the next month and come and play at this venue just to kind of open it up, and we'll pay you nothing, you know, but we'd love to have you there. So just poke around and go to things, and then of course you could, now look, if you're good, you could contact an agent, and that agent, you have to be careful, can't get into all that, take too long, but you can contact an agent who would give you X number of dollars, or take you know, take X number of dollars to find you places, and you know, you do a demo tape, and you submit that, and then they in turn submit it to other places. So you can go as professional as that, as committed as that, but you have to be pretty good. And you know, you hit certain, if you are a jazz band, a true jazz band, you'll have harder time because there'd be less people want to do that. You play very complicated music, you'll have less people want to do that. You play country music, you play red dirt, you play pop music, that'll be a lot more popular. I'm not telling you to change, I'm just stating, you know, what, and if you go someplace out to eat or to a bar, and they're playing music kind of like what you like or what you do, sort of like that, you just go talk to the manager, say, hey, I do this, can I come in on on lunchtime, you know, which is not a normal time, can I come in at lunchtime and just sit up there and play my songs just for you to hear me, you know. So anyway, kind of getting yourself out there, people getting your name, people knowing, and then you get experience, you become more comfortable, you become more confident, and it works better. Last question. Look at that last question. Well, I don't like that last question. What are some strategies for using chord voicings, including examples of playing different voicings on the piano? Well, you can't see me if I go over there playing the piano. I do have two cameras. I have a camera that shoots right down on. It's just not plugged in. I don't think I can make it come on right now. First off, let me, as I keep doing, I'm not trying to be as dumb as I seem, but the idea is that, it's not even the right place. Never mind. I was going to try to see if I could sneakily get it going but that's not overhead. I moved it for the thing. So, in my habit of changing the topic, when you guys are thinking chord voicing, if you are not country, acoustic rock, you know, you're thinking, oh my gosh, if you're in a worship band, what do you know, like 6 chords and where to move the capo. But I'm saying is that, so rock and acoustic rock and not rock, acoustic rock, folk, country music, you're thinking chords, like this is a chord and this is a chord and this is a chord and this is a chord, and you know, these are voicings. And so like, what, even the idea of voicing, Like, what are you talking about? E, there's an E. You know, that's my E, you know. So chord voicing obviously is an chording instrument like the guitar, the mandolin, the piano. Is talking about choices of chords. So on my practical answer to say whatever chord type you learn, we have to get out of the acoustic rock country music, really truly praise and worship, modern praise and worship, where there's just, you know, 3 chords and a capo, because there's only, you know, this is it, this is every song, you know. What voicing? You just put another capo up another fret. But we're talking about when people are playing, you know, difficult songs with, and that would have to be styles of songs. So anyway, if you're trying to learn a chord type, learn 2 versions of each one. So a major 7, this, here's one, and here's another one. This is a different shape. So this, here's a G major 7. Here's 1, and I don't know how many I know, but I'll know at least 6. And now one other one, and here's the same chord, G major 7. Here it is in that other voice. Hear that? Yeah. Same chord. So I know 2 voicings. I knew 2 ways to make that chord shape. Here is a 7, and here's the same chord in a different shape. And here's a minor, and here it is. Now the reason I want 2 of those is because otherwise I'll be playing songs and I'll have to be doing this. Okay, so now second step on the idea of chord voicing. So I want 2 of each and 3 types of each chord, ways to play every kind of chord, means that I'm never probably going to have a hard time finding where getting to a chord, because they'll be close. So, and here's the deal. It is this sounds very connected. Now, those chords could be far apart if we didn't choose a voicing that I chose. That is a way to play the chord type, each chord type. And what we wanted to hear was not a lot of motion. We wanted to hear these chords are near one another, and the notes are so the notes are close together. So what the ear hears is kind of skill and kind of connection and flow, because the notes are close together. And you could say that sounds, and it does, it sounds smooth. So conversely, if I want it to sound dramatic, I don't know what I play. So I'm going to play something like, I want it to be, no. Really? I feel like it's even, even more. Forgetting about how far apart that is, because this chord and this one is far away. I'm kind of the opposite of what this question is about. Most people, when they say voicing, they mean how close can we get these notes together so they sound smooth. So I'm making that statement. If the fingers don't move far between the chords, and the notes of each chord are very close together, 1 to 2 frets apart, then we have a close voicing and it sounds smooth and connected. If we want it to conversely be aggressive or big changes, so that what I'm saying is this: if I did like this, this is the same. It sounds connected. You're not even thinking of it as a voicing. Now do it this way. The fact that those chords are far apart, the notes are far, it's more dramatic. Which is better? What do you want the song to sound like? Do you want it to sound dramatic? Then make the chords far apart, the notes far apart. You want them to sound connected and smooth, and put the chords closer together, the notes, and they will sound more smooth and more connected. And if you're not being rude, and if you only know this chord and this chord and this chord and this chord, that's the only way you know how to play a D, then you don't have the issue of voicing. You don't know enough choices to be able to make those distinctions, which is just fine, certainly as a starting point. So, what I said about voicings was, I said that if you're learning a chord type, you should learn at least 2 ways to play any chord type, and if you can learn 3, you're set. And there's literally 100 ways to play any chord type you could name. It's the nature of the guitar, and the piano is the same way, actually. Because to play a G, we just need a G, a B, and a D, and they can be anywhere on any string. And that's why when you buy a piece of music or go to Guitars, Ultimate Guitar, and it has this really wonky way to play a chord, and you go, that really sounds weird. That's because the computer's just going G, B, D, just finding places for that to work. And then the second thing I said, so you find the 2 ways, 3 ways is your set, although there are many more ways. And then I said that voicing, to a beginning thinking about voicing, is we need to have harder songs with more chords in them. And then if we move just 1 or 2 frets, we have a close voicing and it sounds connected and smooth. If we want it to be dramatic, then we want to move further away to make those changes sound strong. And there you go. That is an intro to chord voicing. I'm done. I'm going to be gone now. So I want you to remember that I want you to have fun and be awesome. This is Mark Teaches Music, and this is episode 7. And so if you're interested in lessons, DallasMusicLessons.com, and there's a button around here to turn this off. Okay, see you later.